Well, Timor-Leste's presidential candidate Jose Ramos Horta was interviewed by Metro Globe Network's Iqbal Himawan. Let's see what he had to say.
So you gave your vote today, and how do you see this election this year, the overall election from the first round to the second round?
Well, mostly very peaceful. I'm very pleased with that, although some of the politicians, leaders of this country, particularly the Prime Minister, he used threats, strong language, which in fact didn't help the candidate he was supporting. The Prime Minister, Mr. Taul Mataruak, supporting President Luolo, the incumbent. And while the president, incumbent, spoke mostly softly, in a gentleman way, the Prime Minister, Taul Mataruak, used vitriolic, incendiary language, which made many people uncomfortable. But overall, the election is going well without major incidents.
You mentioned before that there's going to be political earthquake in national parliament. Does it relate with that to the potential deadlock that might happen?
Well, if I'm elected, I still say if I'm elected, that's what democracy is all about, I will go down to the political parties to meet with them. For me, there are no enemies in this country. All Timorese. I will meet with all the parties in the parliament, with the society leaders, to look at what's the best way to correct some of the violations of the Constitution that were carried out by the president.
Before they're going back to their hometown to cast their ballots. And not only those who lived in the faraway district, but also here in Dili, they complain about how hard it is to find a job here. And some of them are unemployed, especially since the COVID-19. They have to be laid off. How will you, but how do you see this, to create job opportunities? What is the possible way to overcome that?
We have to get involved, engage the private sector, engage the banks, particularly our national bank, which is 100% funded by the government, to provide soft loans, no more than 2-4% to farmers, and with a long period of grace, meaning they should start paying back the loan only after 2 years minimum, because agriculture is not something that has quick return. We have to support the transport sector. The government has also to engage in purchasing any excess food that produced by the farmers. Purchase it, and then what you do with what you buy. Provide to schools, to the hospitals. We have a feeding program for school children. Every day, hundreds of thousands of children around the country supposed to have a meal provided by the government. But the cost that is, the budget is allocated per child is only 25 cents. 25 cents might be good in Indonesia because it's cheaper, but here 25 cents is nothing. So the budget for we call it a hot meal. Every day, every school must provide a hot meal to a child, consisting of rice, beans, vegetables, and whenever possible, meat. This is the program that is partly key to addressing child malnutrition. I will look into how we can increase the budget. With me, relationship with Indonesia will even expand further. I always had the best possible relationship with all Indonesian leaders, going back to Gus Dur, whom I knew when he was not president. I met Gus Dur before Timor became independent. Then I developed very good rapport with Ibu Mega, with Susilo, SBI, and Jokoyo. So, and before all of them, with President Habibie. With all Indonesian foreign ministers, academics, intellectuals, movie stars, common people, the embassy here. So, a particular affinity with Indonesia, the people of Timor feel. We share a border. We are very close to each other. So I believe that Timor-Leste economy and the economy of NTT, the economy of the rest of Indonesia, must expand. We cannot develop alone. We have to look at NTT, what they need, how can we complement the economy of NTT, what can we buy from NTT, what can we buy from Java, from Sumatra, because I mentioned that because the level of Indonesian development, particularly if you talk about Java and Sumatra, is already far higher than Timor-Leste. So Timor-Leste is still at the same level of a stage of development like NTT. How can we help each other? And how can we work closer with Bali? How can we learn with Bali in tourism and agriculture?